Imagine a time when the world was vast and mysterious. A time when vast and mysterious world could only be known through the stories told by travelers. Yes, the stories told by travelers. There was no other way of knowing different worlds. But what if I told you there was a network of roads? There was a network of routes through which ideas, stories, cultures flowed like a river. This network of routes connected east and west. Hi, my name is Ajay, and this is the story of Silk Road, the ancient superhighway that changed the course of history. Silk Road, the ancient superhighway that changed the course of history. Our story begins over 2000 years ago. Our story begins over 2000 years ago in China. Han Dynasty. Han Dynasty was at its peak, and they have a secret treasure silk, a soft and shivering fabric, which was demanded by all over the world, which was highly sought after by the wealthy elites of Rome, Persia, and Asia. But how could that precious material traveled across such vast distances? That's where that's where the importance and the role of Silk Road comes into the picture. Dear friends, Silk Road is not a single road. It it was a vast network of routes. It was a vast network of routes. It was a vast network of routes stretching over 7,000 miles, more than 7,000 miles, from bustling cities of China to the Mediterranean. Caravans of camels, horses, donkeys laden with goods trekked across the world, across harsh deserts, towering mountains, and endless plains. They carried the goods across the world through Silk Road. But the Silk Road was not just about the silk. It was not just about the trading of silk. The traders along the way exchanged a number of goods, a variety of goods, such as spices, spices, precious stones, perfumes, and even ideas. They exchange even ideas. For instance, Buddhism. Buddhism traveled from India to China by the virtue of this Silk Road. That is the importance of Silk Road. Creating globalization, influencing cultures, influencing lives, spreading ideas, not only not only trade of goods and other things. All right, the West gained a lot in terms of both goods and ideas. In knowledge, they gained the knowledge of paper making. They gained the knowledge of paper making by the virtue of trade route or the Silk Road. The gunpowder, the idea of gunpowder, knowledge of gunpowder, and even the navigation system. They gained a lot. So that facilitated a lot across the world. But my dear friends, along with all good things, along with all good things, some bad things also happen. Along the trade and along the exchange of idea of trade, ideas and trade, there was also movement of disease. Disease too. moved along the way. The most infamous being the Black Death. The Black Death during the 14th century swept across Europe, that was carried by the traders with their goods. So this was also the face of, the side of, the aspect of globalization facilitated through the Silk Road. All right. The Silk Road, along the Silk Road, the cities were flourishing. In the way cities came and they flourished. Cities like Samarkand, Bukhara, Kashgar, they were the melting pots of exchange of goods, art, and architecture. They were melting pots. The East and West met in those cities. East and West met in those cities. It was the most extraordinary way of blending of cultures of East and West, most extraordinary way. And that all were facilitated through the Silk Road. Right? But as evident or as inevitable it was the decline of Silk Road. The decline of Silk Road started during 15th century. But before it declined, the Silk Road thrived over 1000 years. Thrived over 1000 years. But the decline happened during 15th century when the rise of maritime trade routes started to begin. In the 15th century, Silk Road started to decline. Yet it was important, its relevance remained significant, remained. Silk Road was not just a trade route, it was the bridge connecting different civilizations. It was the bridge connecting different civilizations, providing a bridge which fostered exchange of goods, ideas, cultures, art, architecture. It was not mere a trade route. It shaped the world as we see it today. Significantly changed, significantly shaped. So, even after the declining of trade route, the Silk Road, its significance, its relevance remained today. It showed us how trade and exchange is done, how civilizations are influenced, how culture are influenced, and in all, what are the process of globalization, what are the process of progress, the exchange of ideas, exchange of culture, exchange of art and architecture, that drives our progress, and what facilitate them. At that time, it was the Silk Road. In the ancient time, it was the Silk Road. My dear friends, for preparing, while preparing for civil services, there is a topic in your history, culture, globalization, which directly connect to this Silk Road. That how Silk Road facilitated in globalization, what were its impacts, how could it be relevant today. So, you must be knowing all this. Thank you very much.